Anniversary month is up and coming, and I say it's about time that we get some anniversary predictions up and going, as we have a ton of stuff that we need to go over. And first of all, we're going to be looking at what's going to be happening at the start, including as Haven Mythicals today. The Haven Mythicals, the first question that we've got to answer today is, when are these things gonna release? They're the final Mythicals, and they're bound to be really special because of that, as when we see an end to any of the classes, they always astound. So let's look at when these guys are gonna be releasing.
Gee, I wonder, when in the past was there a similar sort of community challenge, and when did that monster release?
So according to Matt here, we're gonna be seeing the Haven Mythicals release around the same time as when the poll results last year for that monster completed. So last year we voted in June like we did for the Haven Mythicals, and then the Mythical arrived in September. So as Mythicals for Haven are going to be arriving at the start of anniversary month this year. But this time around, the polls behind the Mythicals, they were a bit different to Strombonins. If we're having a look at the polls last year, we got to vote on the instrument and what it would sound like, but this year we didn't even get a chance to do that at all, and this is because of Mythical Island already being composed. It was made last year, the island, and obviously to make the island sound as supreme as it is, you can't have just random monsters going here, there, and everywhere, and it had to be composed beforehand. So this time around, we've actually already heard this monster's sound. When they were casting the votes for it, they wanted us to hear the thing so we could base as results around the sound itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this baby at the end of the video, I think, seeing as though I do want to remain unspoiled myself, and I can just slam dunk it at the end without any thought. That seems like quite a good plan to me. And keep this in mind for everything else that I mentioned in today's video too, as I do not want to be spoiled personally, so I'm gonna just slam dunk all the sounds and everything at the end, as we actually do have more spoilers in terms of sounds coming up. Now, the Haven sound, even though I don't know what it sounds like, I've asked my wonderful friends in the community and they've gave me clarification over the instrument. So I do know it's a string instrument, and I also do know it's quite a specific cultural instrument, this one, and that apparently sounds quite bass vibe. Now, this is going to be playing at the end of Haven 2. This Mythical Sound is going to be playing with Wubox, and it's going to be playing straight after Wubox 2, this guy. Haven, my god, this song is gonna absolutely pop now. The additions that it's gone over the past year, we've had Wubox, Rare Wubox, we've even got the Mythical coming now. This song is honestly starting out now to get very full and complete, honestly, which is really cool to see out of the Haven song, and hopefully something that we can expect out of the other islands now too, including as Magicals and Fire Oasis. But with this Haven sound out of the way, we've also, I've got to put it out there, we've also heard the Mythical Island sound. It didn't just stop with the Haven sound, we've actually heard it on Mythical Island too. I don't understand how this is possible. We go back to the interview with the creators behind the Mythicals, like Anglo and Cherubble. Inside of that interview, you can hear the Haven Mythical in the background. And yes, I am going to be playing at that at the end too, because I'm not listening. I know where it plays though, and I'm going to bring that up. So it plays in my favorite verse in the whole game. I don't understand either. My god. Best way to end the island, right? We're not even there yet, and I already know this guy's going to be amazing. It plays at the end with Yorstridge. And it also plays with Calist and Weasel inside of their verse. That is quite bare, so it playing in those two parts, it does not get better than that, honestly. But what about this monster's design now? So we brought up how it's based on the community poll results, so I think it's important for us to go over what those results are. So it's going to produce a sound using its anatomy. It's insectoid, part of a family group like as Gazkin with Zeester and Gast, and it's going to blend in with its surroundings, have non-robotic elements, be asymmetrical. Its lore is going to expand on something else. Okay. And also, it's happy to go with the flow. So that's quite a lot of things to catch up on here, but the main point that we're going to be looking at inside of his theories here is that it's insectoid and that it's going to be a part of a family group. Those are the most distinct characteristics that can actually help us deduce what this monster is going to look like today. So with it being an insectoid family member, let's bear this in mind now and look at all of the ones that could be inside of the game. We've got Schlep, which is a mythical already, so it's not going to be that one, seeing as though they like to be quite diverse with this family groups. We've got Scarator, which is a beetle, but unfortunately it's a celestial, so that's really unlikely. Seeing as though it's just so important in the lore, right? Nothing is going to really be a family of a celestial. Then we've got Spytrap and Bulbo, which would be quite cool. We've got Astropod, Zinth, Fleechworm, Humbug, and Oraculele, and I've just thrown all of those off. If I'm being quite frank, I think Wublins, okay, I could see Zinth. I think Spytrap, Bulbo don't really have a chance here. I could see Zinth out of any of the Wublins. That would be the one. The Wublins are quite characterized, though. Even though mythical, it is the closest we have gotten to an island like Wublin Island. I don't sense them desiring to make a family out of it, especially seeing as though Wubox created these guys, right? So I think the Ethereals is his most likely scenario here. We've been over Humbug and Oraculele, but none of these share a string instrument, right? Except for Oraculele, and that's mechanical. It literally has the mech element that is not non-robotic. So the Oraculele is out of the equation too. So who is it, MPG? Who is it? Well, it's actually one what we've not brought up yet. And I think the most likely contender that we have is Fungprey. Fungprey is a mantis, and that's actually the main idea behind Fungprey as well. When it was being designed, if you'll go back to its concept art, you can always see that that mantis-esque appearance has always been there throughout its design. So the Fungprey family is actually characterized by its mantis-like appearance, and then I believe it's also characterized by incorporating a hybrid element side of that design. So for example, we have mushrooms with Fungprey. So the mythical is going to be looking at integrating another hybrid counterpart inside of there. But what is this hybrid counterpart going to be? Now, it's going to blend in with its surroundings, its result state. So with it blending in with its surroundings, it's obviously going to be quite Firehaven centered here. We're probably going to be centered around candles, lava, or more specifically, if we're looking at Fungprey, it's based on plants, right? And it's seen as though Firehaven, it's inside of the living core, the volcano. We're probably going to be looking at some volcanic flowers, I think, being represented on this mythical. I think that is the coolest path that they could choose to go down with this. And I do think, therefore, Fungprey is a candidate here. But for what else it could look like, look no further than Ral's design. I wanted to pull this up as my word. This is really cool, okay? They took in the poll results into consideration here, and they've actually based it around Oraculele. Don't think it's going to be that myself, but really cool design here from Ral's. We got it having a more string-like instrument-esque arm here, definitely alluding towards what this instrument could be. Quite interesting, Ral's. I don't know whether I want to look too deep into that, though. Might get spoiled a bit. I think I should move on now because I'm going to keep looking at that. Oh, no. So let's have a look at his Dreamythical next. His Dreamythical, we've got the ending verse now being fully capitalized on. But where we need the song the most out of anywhere to be filled in is Sporo and Crunchy's bit. That verse, oh my god, it's so contrasting to the song. It's amazing, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. But we need that starring monster, that starring role to finally fill out that song completely. If we don't have anything there, this song is not going to be complete. Therefore, the Dreamythical absolutely has to go there. And I think with the Dreamythical as well, it would be so cool if they massively contrast towards those poll results. Literally take every single poll result and do the opposite. That's what I would love to see. The Mythicals have all been about opposites. I mean, they look like they're on different islands most of the time, right? The first ones that we got anyway. Taking that into consideration and doing the opposite, I think would just be an excellent way to end the class, honestly. And perfect. Let's do it, I say. Make it robotic, make it not blend in with its surroundings, and make it have an opposite towards whatever a string instrument would be. Because honestly, that's what that verse is already. It's the complete opposite to the song, and that's why we love it. And for what this Dreamythical sounds like, I'm not sure whether this is true, but we apparently might have heard what this Dreamythical sounds like. I'm also going to slap in a video at the end of what that might look like too. Don't know if it's there, but if it is, then you guys are going to be in spoiler heaven at the end if you stick around. Talking about all of the teasers that we've got, though, we've got teaser this, teaser that. We know this, that, and other, but what else do we know? We know about Adult Loodvigg. Adult Loodvigg is going to be his next adult celestial coming up next month. And we also, inside of his Celestial Ascension trailer, we got a look at this beautiful specimen, and I have seen this completely, so hashtag spoiled. I had to react to it, okay. But anyway, inside of this teaser, we've got the instrument braces that are on the younger form. They've now took the appearance of jewels, it looks like, on top of them. So rather than the braces now, you're seeing a more middle offset between them not being there and them going with those jewels that are there, which is quite nice. We've got the hair tufts here that are more broad. I am so excited for the time when we get the chance to see it have forearms, because Loodvigg on Celestial, it's playing constantly and it has so many tracks, and I think that's also going to be a really interesting thing behind this, because Loodvigg, it has that many sounds. I think it has 6, right? 5? So it's going to have that many new animations. This is going to be absolutely crazy. Out of all the Celestials, I think this might be the most looking forward to one, even though we know what it looks like. There's so many animations. We just don't know what it could do, right? Really cool, especially in comparison to Skarator, as it doesn't do as much on Celestial Skarator in comparison to Loodvigg anyway, right? Now, Adult Loodvigg is going to be coming at the start of the month, obviously, because every single new month we're going to be seeing these adult forms popping along as soon as it starts. But what else do we have that links towards this month? We also have as rare Wublin at the start of every single month, just like a Celestial. Well, not bang at the start like the Celestials, but with each month similar towards the Celestials, we are going to be getting a Wublin based around that Celestial month as well, as we've been seeing so far. So this one is going to be based around Loodvigg, which is going to be the shadow element. So what rare Wublins do we have left then? We have Zucker, Screamoo, Dermot, Giga, Scargo, Astropod, Pixelot, or Bon Appetit. My god, please give us that for anniversary. That will be well cool. Mulch, Fleechworm left. So that's quite a few there. We've got 10 ones left here. Like I was saying, anniversary. My god, put Bon Appetit out there. Fans will be going crazy. Me included. Okay. However, we've got to look at the facts here. Zucker, Dermot, Mulch, and Fleechworm don't really seem to have a design befitting of Shadow. They've been really going into with these, the design specifically, and what they can do to make it the coolest. Creepy Skull, for example, all of these different ones, they've just been selectively choosing the ones, essentially, which they feel they can do the most design-wise. So it's really hard to determine these. But we're having a go, as we always do. And if I had to choose any, I'd choose Screamoo and Astropod for this one. Shadow element, you're looking at those darker element colors. Screamoo and Astropod, very bright monsters, and therefore contrasting that with the darker colors, especially with all the contrast we've been seeing on Wublin Island, that is perfect. And we actually have an incline here towards which one it could be out of these two too, if it's true. So inside of the behind the scenes video that we got, which I was wonderfully featured in, we saw Astropod concept art for rare Astropod, and what did this have on? It had seashells on it, so that is not a linkage towards the shadow element, right guys? So we are looking at it being Screamoo here, especially if we go over to that description. It mentions it has a drab design, which perfectly matches the shadow element, and what's more, its adornments are apparently the only thing that is bright about Screamoo. Now, if that does not scream the shadow element, I don't know what else does, right? So rare Screamoo, let's replace those trees with horror apple trees. Fully horror vibes with this. Paint splurges, let's have purples, those darker colors really fit the darker themes of the shadow element. And rather than its duck-like feet, I was thinking more horror-themed feet, like reptile-looking or crow-looking ones would be quite cool, especially with Creepy Skull. That really went out of its way to be so heavily contrasting and vibing with that poison element. Let's do that again and make it shadowy this time. Sharp claws, crow-like, really overlooking this crow atmosphere, I think, with this one. Confident, villainous eyes, especially considering inside of its bio how it thinks it's arrogant and it's better than everyone. Let's make it so that its impish eyes are villainous. Make them dark-themed. And for rare Screamoo, Rouse has actually perfectly encapsulated what a shadow-themed one could look like. Rather than my ideas, though, let's have a look at what they've put up. So they've decided to go with a more squid-like vibe, inspired by Splatoon. We can see all of the different paints here splurging across this one. Very shadow elemental themed. I don't know if you had this planned, Rouse, but this is actually quite the coincidence here. We've got one eye and sharp teeth. Very befitting of the shadow element, I do have to say myself. And we've got us rare Wublin and everything else that is coming, but we also have more, guys. This is only part 1 to his anniversary prediction somehow, but we still have more, right? Anyway, let's have a look at his vessels as they're all expiring here, and I don't have a clue what's going on with Bicinerus. Okay. I don't know. I was pulling it up and I don't know what is going on with it. It's glowing. Its belly is telling me it wants to be inside of the vessel or something. I don't know. Well, we'll be proud. Anyway. Oh my god. Bicinerus. It serves you right, Bicinerus, for eluding us off like that. We went in chronological order, then you decided not to with Incisor. Anyway, the rare quads have finished now, except from Incisor as we went over. They all went chronologically, and therefore I'm expecting the same from here. Now, the big question is it going to be an epic fire or a rare fire? It's now a question, will they start the rare quints, or will they continue with the epic fires? And with it being anniversary, of course they're going to go with going with the rare quints this time around. And with them all going in chronological order, the next one, as assuming we don't have a Bisonaurus situation with the belly and everything. Going in the chronological order, we'd have to assume that Rare Candelabra is going to be the one that's coming up next. And for Rare Candelabra, we've speculated on this thing before as wonderful goddess monster inside of the game. I'm going to go back to my Summer Song predictions behind it. With Candelabra, you don't see its fire inside of the game. It's barely visible, and therefore I really want this to be made more big and dynamic, much more like Dawn of Fire, and make the fire more cooler. Just overall, let's finally give the Quint some love. When Candelabra first came along, it was so weak, its sound, it didn't necessarily have the best animations in my opinion. I just want to see the Rare Fire Quints be given some justice in terms of that, because I feel like it could have been so much cooler. I mean, that was the first Quint we've ever seen in the main game, so let's go back to that and make this one really cool. And based on the old concept art potentially too behind Candelabra, now we've had the prismatic designs, much more sea themed, but I'd love to go back to this concept art as we do have some really cool designs on here, specifically the Galvana looking one with the dress-like flab at the bottom. I'm not really sure what else to call it other than flab. Not like Bisonaurus flab, but there you go. I'm not sure about the Afro dude either, but let's just go with the Galvana ones there, right? And for the release behind these, we've got 1st of September, which is going to be featuring adult Loodvigg. On the 1st of every single month, we're going to be seeing these Celestials from now on. And thanks to us wonderful vessels featuring Bisonaurus, yours truly, they also give us a reference towards when these updates are going to be coming. Now, when the vessels expire and the rare fire comes, I'd be expecting for these beginning updates to be coming that we've gone over today. So on the 6th of September, when the vessels expire, I'm expecting as Fire Haven Mythicals to come, the rare Wublin and the rare fire. And that will be our first part of Anniversary. However, that only covers the beginning of Anniversary. And it doesn't cover what's coming next. I mean, we've got as Mythicals ending, Amber Island ending, Seasonals ending. What's next, MPG? What's next? Well, don't you worry. Right now, as you're watching this, I'm working on my next predictions. And let me tell you, they're going to put you in a wizard. I've got some quite wacky ones coming up. But for now, before we go over what could potentially be coming, we're going to play those mythical sounds. May Bisonaurus forever be inside of your heart. Vessel indicating there you go. But for now, if you don't want to be spoiled, please click off the video. Now, I'm placing these sounds at the end very non-edited. I absolutely adore Mythical Island, and honestly could turn out to be my favorite island if these monsters really do add a lot. I'm really excited to see where it falls, because so far I would absolutely place it as being in my top 3. I'm interested to see where its final rank is going to be, guys. God knows when we're going to get another island like this. It's in my top 3 favorite islands in the game, and I want to savor this moment and not listen. So if you guys want to do that too, then now's your chance to click off. Spoiler warning out of the way though now, because we're going to be playing this thing.
And I'm already this fall going to college for game design, so I'm very excited, and I hope that one day I could be a monster handler.
Over the course of the development of the Ultimate Creator Mythical,
like you were all just kind of like chill, laid back, let's make a thing.
what was your favorite part about visiting Big Blue Bubble?
Definitely my favorite part of being there in Big Blue Bubble was just getting to nerd out over this game with all of the people who helped make it what it is today. That is a very special kind of experience.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Okay, cool, perfect. All right, that's great reference imagery. Or is it all just sort of sluggy?
It's all sluggy.
Okay.
In the summer of 2022, 3 My Singing Monsters mega fans visited the Big Blue Bubble studio as part of the Ultimate Creator Experience packages for My Singing Monsters, the board game. They got an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at how we bring the monster world to life, from unique monster sounds to wild monster designs, and even a sneak peek at some top-secret projects. But the most exciting part was that each came with a vision to create their very own mythical monster, and had the opportunity to work closely with the monster handlers to craft and refine them into the exciting and dynamic characters we know and who pursue a future in video games.
I was already very interested in game design before the Ultimate Creator experience, but working with Big Blue Bubble just made me realize how amazing a game design environment can be, and it's just made me even more passionate about that field. And I'm already this fall going to college for game design, so I'm very excited, and I hope that one day I could be a monster handler.
Over the course of the development of the Ultimate Creator Mythicals, you three had the opportunity over email to start to get to know each other, share your ideas.